Morrison, and apparently we are actually back now. Our audio has been salvaged. We actually paused the map. That is how much we care about you guys. Didn't want to miss a beat, didn't want to miss anything while we fixed our issues. We had that pause come down. You're not going to miss any action. We're back here. I am Graham Morrison, joined by Peronius. And, well, we casted our little hearts out for map 1, and you guys, well, Twitch chat, you can just use your imagination, right?
Absolutely, and basically the big takeaways here is that Soundscape Pulse, as we've all seen, putting up a dominant performance here, proving that they are definitely the stronger of these two teams. Soundscape Stone maybe need to work on their coordination together, because they have been dropping fights where they theoretically have an advantage in there, with Pulse just so far being able to convert over everything. Now we are going to see something a bit different here. We are seeing Sone bringing out the double poke comp with the Pharaoh Widow, and Jados is reprising his role on that Reaper for a modified Reaper Goats there. It's the setup on the point on the part of Pulse.
Well, Ogredor has the first pick onto the rival Ryan. Elite Viper falls. That will cause players to fall away, fall back off of this one. And the first cap will come in. Once again, going the way of Pulse. Now, are they able to find any more? Here is the million-dollar question, Peronius.
Absolutely, and I think there's definitely an interesting matchup here with this asymmetrical comp, because obviously the Reaper Goats or Rotes favors a very upfront combination, but as we can see, the Widow and Farah from KO and Jeef Beef just really poking down this comp from long range.
And this Farah collapsing on the point will find Shockwave, and we're going to have a very quick flip back the other way. 25%, actually 24. I was off by a single percent. Feels bad. As we're now seeing the wall hacks coming out from the Widow. Gives them an idea of where this push will come through, and they should be able to try and stunt these players. Just poking them around, booping, bopping, and doing some good damage here, Peronius, but they haven't quite found a kill yet.
Oh, that's a big shadow, though, coming in from Elite Viper, and that is going to be a quick and easy fight win there for Sone. They have obviously done their homework here, they've regrouped, they've regathered themselves, and now they are ready to take it to Pulse. And they are going to have both the Grav and the Rocket Barrage up on the next fight, which is going to make that narrow entrance into this central courtyard here a very dangerous place to be.
Yeah, it's never fun when you walk into a choke point, especially with the Pharaoh spamming down. We'll see if there can be some of these kills. Jeef is doing some solid damage, but they have gotten through quite quickly on to this point. The problem is they haven't quite dealt with that Para, and they are just being picked apart as KO has the first shot onto Kaiser. And a second shot there onto Jados. Now the rockets come out, but it will be stopped by Olidus. However, a lot of shatters coming around. These kills, though, are all Crimson. And Olidus, just the last one here on the point, just going to jump off a cliff and die. I probably would too if I was the last one trying to deal with 5 people.
Absolutely. And all said and done, decent fight from Pulse. They may have lost the fight, but it was expensive for Sone to hold that one. They lose their grab into the defense matrix, they use their barrage, they use their shatter. A lot of tools not available for this next push, and just look at that ult economy, and here comes the Transcendence as they push in.
Absolutely, they're flying right out. Tag so far from the Widow, but no kills going that way really off of it. Now Olidus is picked off the Mercy, and that's a very large one. They're on this point, and they have the cap coming through with the flip. Up to 95% and a good number of players alive. They still managed to find it all the way out. That's the problem with the Widow and Farah. Can't really contest the point if they are being pressured out. However, KO, he's still finding these shots, Peronius, ripping the head off the Brigida. Now we have these ults coming right back in, and this might be enough to turn the tides, but Jados, oh, he gets stuffed.
Absolutely, and just I was about to say before this fight sort of dragged on that Pulse had done it really cheaply as well, but they're really starting to have to commit the resources here, and this is not a good position to be in. Fidici trying to get back into the point now, harassing the Mercy. There's Jeef taking out Ogredor over the point, and KO takes down Katos as well, so the kills actually starting to come through for Sone in this fight.
This has been a very awkward fight in terms of positioning for everybody, but we will have the point flip out. It is a very close. Shockwave's going to get right in around, but he's being pressured heavily by this Farah. Has delayed. It might allow spawns to come in. No one's really close, though, and I don't think it will. We are going to have a 1-1 here as Sone take the second segment of this first map.
Yeah, just a bit of a bridge too far to get back onto that point, especially with Winter there with the Graviton to say, no one's getting through this doorway. You're just going to sit here in this black hole and think about what you've done. And so with that, we are going to be going over to Gardens for the tiebreaker. Now, you've got to feel like in this instance, you might have to give it to Sone here. It is a much longer range map, but at the same time, we are going to see some change-ups from Pulse. They're going over to their own Pharaoh Widow. So it's really going to be a battle of the Widows here to see who out of KO and Jados wins these duels and gets in a position to take control of the skies as a result of that. So look forward to that.
Yeah, this is very similar comps, and they are going to be coming out flying. In fact, they're exactly equal. As now this Pharah duel comes through, Widow Shot comes in onto Jeef Beef, makes him fall off the angle, and that might just give a slight advantage here to Pulse, as they have a little bit more control of the skies. Widow Shot's not really connecting. No one, in fact, finding a kill just yet. Now we have a couple tanks duking around on the point.
Kaiser
Surely a kill should come in soon. And the big anti onto Elite Viper causes him to fall. However, Jado's on the other side is down. That opens up space for the Widow, and we might see a little bit more cleanup come off of that. However, the res onto Jado's. Is that the case? Cap, though, coming in for Sone.
Yeah, so early cap there for Sone. This fight could very well be turned around here, though. A lot of members very spread out. The kills are starting to come through in favor of Pulse to try and bring this one back, but they do lose the Diva mech there. Jado's picking up Elite Viper for the second time. Means that... Oh, and there goes KO as well. So that is, in fact, going to be a flip there. Winter looks like they're going to come forward to try and buy some more time, right?
My ultimate is charging.
And the stall is decently well done there. Mercy is also going to be going in committing for this, and that's allowing the Diva to stay up probably a lot longer than she should have. And that bled another 7%, and now with the Winston coming in, they've done a great job bleeding, getting all the way up to 35 before the flip. So that's actually very well done on the stall front. It's only going to be about 20, so eking out another 15, but that beautiful Diva Bomb picks off the Widow.
That's going to buy them an extra couple of seconds before we can get the reset through. No, they do commit the res onto that one just so they can get this push going, but they're still under a lot of pressure coming through from their spawn. Area is currently under control. There goes Pandishi, though. That's going to be opening a. Here comes the commitment.
Yeah, now here comes the barrage, but it doesn't actually catch anything from Chief. Well, D-Mech Olidus, but that's not enough for it. But Winter chimes in with the Diva Bomb, taking out Pandishi, and this will be a fight surely that Sone wins. There is just a couple members left alive now. It's just Jados and Shockwave. Shockwave way up in the skies does get knocked down by Chief Beef.
Yeah, so once again, teams trading fairly evenly. We're up to 43% in favor of Sone here, in favor of Pulse, sorry, but we are going to be going over that with Sone. Once again, it really is just the battle of these Widows and Pharaohs here. Whoever gets the advantage on their counterpart has a big advantage in the team fight, but I think both Winstons playing very well. When one of the Widows is losing the duel, the other one is getting jumped on by the opposing team's Winston to deny them any free space to then pick up extra members. So both teams really playing this well to deny those sight lines, but we will have the push onto the point here now.
They are trying to fight it out, and Pandishi with the barrage will actually find a pair. That is the pharmacy combo as Red and GP both fall. Now he will have a free reign here, trying to come in, trying to find any more kills as they try and get this capped up. Elite Viper actually, that's a big pick onto Kaiser, and now Pandishi has fallen. This is getting quite hectic, but it's going all Sone's way as KO hits a few shots. We'll lose the Widow duel, but the res gets committed for him to keep him alive, and Jado's down. This is looking like it's going to be a fight and in the first map going to Sone.
And Sone really turning things around after that somewhat disastrous control center round. Some big plays there from Elite Viper, just raging in that room, taking apart the enemy Ana, almost taking out the little Diva as well. Just really providing a lot of forward pressure on that Winston. And some amazing Ryan plays from them as well, as we see here. Big Shatter getting in, and with the help of the Nano, they're able to clean up the tail end of that fight as well. So big plays there from Elite Viper on the main tank, but all members of Sone really coming together to turn this match around.
And the real difference between at least in my opinion, what the first segment of this map was versus the follow-to is Jados had an incredibly high impact on Reaper on the first segment, but because it is very confined indoors, you're able to do that a lot more freely, whereas with the second two being outdoors, he was just kind of negated and didn't quite bring it on the other heroes to the degree that he did on Reaper. And because of that, Pulse, they just really didn't have the window to get back through. They got outplayed by Sone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting to see. Like, there's been a lot of discussion about whether or not Goats is dead. And certainly Pulse trying to run the Reaper Goats or Rotes on Night Market and just really not working out in their favor against the double poke comp that Sone were bringing out there. So there's definitely some arguments to be made that Goats is not the be-all and end-all anymore, but I think it's still a little too early to say whether or not it's truly dead, because it's certainly still a composition a lot of teams are very strong on, have had a lot of practice on. Interesting to see where things go from here. And we're just looking to update the scores, and the players are helpfully telling us that Soundscape won and Soundscape lost that match. So thank you, players.
Hey, man. Hey, man, I had that bold prediction Soundscape was going to win. But nobody heard me make that joke because we didn't have audio. But speaking of audio, since you can actually hear us now, if you are enjoying this cast, I'd actually appreciate if you went and followed us. You can follow Peronius at Peronius. You can actually see his name right there on the stream. That makes it really easy. You just put a little @ sign in front of that on Twitter, and you found him. I, on the other hand, I'm a little bit harder. You have to follow me at Graham Casts. I would also appreciate it. Of course, drop a follow on AOE if you're not already. You probably are if you're here. But those like on Twitter as well as Twitch are your two best bets to get notifications when we are live, because we have regular AOE tomorrow, I believe, Peronius, as well as, of course, Ascent. We've got the rest of the season. We got a lot more Ascent to go. And we got a lot more Ascent tonight with the rest of this series. And I think, do we have a second game after this?
I don't believe so. I didn't see anything about a second game. I'd certainly be down for a second game if there is one. But just one quick correction for earlier. If you are trying to find me on Twitter, I would not use as it's written on screen, as unfortunately there is an O missing from that name. It's Pironious. I do have entirely too many vowels. But feel free to...
You know what? I'm going to do the better step for this, and people are going to wonder why I'm posting these, as I post them like 2 minutes in the future. I'm actually going to go all out here for you, Peronius. I'm going to post the link to yours and mine in that chat, just so that people can not have to deal with typing and typos. And people are going to see me do this now, and people are going to have no idea. It's highly amusing to me. It's going to be like, why is this idiot self-promoting while he's also talking at the same time? It's
absolutely
it's crazy I can do.
And then a couple of minutes in the future, it will all make sense to them.
Well, speaking of a couple minutes, with that time, we have actually gotten swapped over. They've decided that Dorado is going to be the next map. We have had both teams ready up, and now we're already hopping into that. That is how you stall, Peronius. That's how you vamp. We did it. We successfully got through, and we are here listening to the lovely musical stylings of the Dorado Band here on the map.
Yeah, I believe the Dorado Electric Light Orchestra, if I remember correctly. So it looks like... Oh no, we aren't. One of the team's indicating there might be an early pause, but it looks like everyone is there, so we will be heading into Dorado shortly. It's going to be interesting to see what we see out of these teams, as Dorado, definitely an interesting map, as we, if anyone was watching the Open Division Finals this past weekend, we definitely saw a lot of goats on this map. We also saw a lot of quad DPS and very dive-heavy teams as well, so a lot of variety available on this map, and it's really going to come down to what these teams have in their wheelhouses. We've definitely seen so far that Pulse definitely like the GOATS composition, definitely like to play around that. They brought it out on Night Market. It didn't really work out for them. We'll see if it goes better for them here, and we'll see what Sone have to answer that as we get ready to head into this match.
Finally, we are just having the final seconds of the Assemble Your Heroes countdown. This is where I inevitably wait and see one team kind of bait me with a dumb pick. I actually remember way back when I first started casting Overwatch for Heroes League, way back when Ana first got introduced, and me and Avril were perpetually like demanding people play Ana, and we'd see it swapped to in spawn all the time, but no one would commit to it. Little did we know how much that would actually change when people started using it. But yeah, for like the first like 3 weeks of it, it was highly entertaining just to see like teams bait us, and then we like freaked out when someone finally picked it.
Very nice. That is practically ancient history at this point. Wow, that is quite a long time ago. But we are going to be, looks like we are going to have the Widow Junkrat on the defense here from the members of Pulse, from the members of Sone. It was bound to happen, but early boop there from Pandishi on the Pharah, really caring about this defense. They are going to rotate and set up their defense under the arch here, and it looks like we do have a very similar team from the offense, but they're running Pandishi on the Pharah rather than the Junkrat to take advantage of the sky in the way that only Pharah can.
Oh, and KO getting a nice shot there onto Jados. Does open things up a little bit for this offense. Or, sorry, I should say for the defense. And now they are trying to take some of that space and find a few of these shots through. They're not quite able to connect on anything, though.
Yeah, Pandishi playing a lot of pressure down from the sky there, just really pressuring those tanks that push forwards onto the cart, making it very hard for them to push forwards and really take advantage of the man advantage there. Now GFB under a lot of pressure from Pandishi as well. Both these teams just looking for an initial pick, bucking for position. There's, yeah, it's really a lot of pressure on the offense here. They need to coordinate, set up this dive and go, because they're running the dive tanks. They can't allow it to just be a brawl on the cart. It looks like they're just waiting for either Pandishi or Jados to try and get that opening pick so they can push in. So far, no real movement from either team in that department, which is playing very nicely into the defense.
Again, the pressure's just coming through. There's not an opening for anyone to find picks here for Sone. They're struggling to find it. Jados goes up and above. He's not able to land the shot. And that's the thing, is they'll get close. Like, Jados takes a lot, or in this case, Orgador takes a good chunk and he falls back. But finally we have the aggression coming through, and Pandishi finds a pair. Picks off KO, picks off Red. That's Sienna and Widow down. GP will fall as well when the offense finally has it on Orgador. Will surely be a space for them.
Just a matter of cleanup here. Pandishi does go down in the late end of that fight to Winter, but Winter is going to be traded back as well. And that is going to get them this payload through to the courtyard. We are probably going to see a contest here from the defense. Sone should be able to get a recontest onto this one. So it's really going to be a lot of pressure onto Pulse to keep control of these entrance points before they come in with that. And here comes the reattest now.
Yeah, they are up right there in their face. They have used a Lucio boost to get through. Get the heals up, but they're not able to find anything. Diva Bomb is trapped in a corner. That's going to be relatively ineffective as Orgador. He has popped that Primal Rage, finds the kill onto the Widow. The Ana's down too. Now again, it looks like they're going the way of the offense. There's still a lot of fight left in this. Trying to stall out, but again, Pandishi will find Chief Beef. And surely at this point, you can already see Elite Vipers backing off. This is a fight lost by the defense. The cap will come through any moment now.
Absolutely, and Elite Viper actually reconnects in and is going to go down there. That's actually going to be a big opportunity to push forward from the members of Pulse, but at the same time, you've still got to be happy with that point A defense. They've bled a lot of time off the clock, only 3 minutes remaining as we go into Stage 2, but this looks like due to those late kills, it is going to be a snowball through most of point B. We are going to be able to have a recontest here in the final stage, but I'm not sure how much Sone are going to be able to push forwards and get an earlier recontest on that one. Looks like they are finally starting to be able to make some progress forwards. At the same time, their backline is being pressured though, so at this stage, yeah, they're all sort of just trying to group up and get these couple of members, Olidus being forced to back out now, and we are going to have a fight breaking out now.
Well, now the pressure's coming straight through in and around, and actually, here this Rip Tower, it hasn't landed anywhere yet. GP gonna be able to get right back into the back line. Doesn't find anything. It does find the Ana. As Jados has also fallen, you can already see everyone falling back quite hard. Will let us be able to escape with the mech? I'm not thinking so. It will be, in fact, the D-mech in a very late stagger. As a Winter grabs that kill, the defense standing tall. Bends but does not break. Does not concede that second point. Quite a ways for it to go, and we'll see a regroup coming through. No hero changes at this point in time. Offense seems content with them.
Oh yeah, I think given the high ground in this one, they're definitely on the stronger composition for this point. Jado's getting the best of KO. Early in that one is going to be an advantage as well. But yeah, Elite Viper on the Reinhardt means it's going to be harder for him to contest this high ground, which is really going to give a lot of space to the offense through here. So they are definitely on the scissors end of the rock, paper, scissors, if you assume we are going to have Pulse on scissors and Sone over on paper. And Olidus picking up Jeef Beef and Ducky there means that this one coming through even without it really being much of a fight. Elite Viper going for a late shatter there, and it's getting a little weird and brawly here.
Yeah, they're definitely doing a good job stalling. The problem is I'm not sure with the amount they're committing now whether or not it's worth it. But Ducky and Winter find a pair of kills, and they may be making me eat my words there if they're able to convert anything else. And in fact, they have done a great job doing damage and force back the offense. So what suddenly looked like almost too many ults committed works out in their favor. The downside now, Peronies, of course, is the fact that there's 3 ults up for the offense. There's only the Graviton up for the defense, and I'm not sure that's enough to counter.
Well, the thing with the grab is there's no defensive ult on the part of the offense, so they don't have the sound barrier, they don't have the transcendence, they don't have Jados for this fight, unfortunately, which is definitely going to be a strong point. This is the last fight. That grab could literally end this fight for the offense here and leave them without seeing point 3. So it's really on the members here of... Winter going down early, never mind. Let's stop talking about the grab, because this fight is going places.
Yeah, but Jados, he's finding shots. Will again fall to KO. Doesn't matter with the extent of the damage done. Elite Viper falling as well. Ducky's in a lot of trouble on this point. As it's just KO and Ducky in and around here. They're being forced off of it as Red falls deep. The Graviton, though, doesn't pull enough of them off it. They are staying just around the point. Good job by Shockwave there. Deadeye comes through, and it will take Shockwave down. This defense, they're coming in so hard that Deadeye's going to force them back. But does it find these kills? No, Pindy, she actually gets Elite Viper. The pressure's coming through. The kills are starting to come down. It's just Ducky. Now Red's way back. And I think, in the end, after all of this, Sone have in fact done it.
Wow, what an incredible fight. I mean, Winter going down early in that fight before they've used the grab. Huge opening pick there to just really take that grab off the table. It does make its way back into the fight before the end, but as we saw, it was a little too late. Just sort of used to try and grab people off the cart to cause them to end the round, but not able to actually secure that one. So we are going to go over to point C here. And perhaps not too surprisingly, we are going to see a run-on-run battle. Jeef Beef back on the Reaper, though, so we'll see if he's able to give us a reprise of his earlier performance over in Control Center.
It will be the dual Reaper fights coming through. This is a little bit of change, but a great wall there. Not able to be converted on. The good Anti puts Argador in a little bit of trouble. He might be caught. The health is so poor right now for Sone. They're in a lot of trouble, and now with the Nano coming out onto Jeep Beef, this surely will be a hold. And you can already see these players trying to retreat, trying to fall away, but there's only 25 seconds left here, Peronius.
Oh, it's a big
Shadow comes down to catch as many of them. They should be able to clean the rest up, and if they stagger this right, Olidus will be in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, it looks like Jado's trying to go for the desperate flank on the Reaper to get into the cut, but he has been spotted out. They're not going to let him get through, and it's going to be very hard for anyone to get onto this payload in time. You've got 1 second to get there. Is he going to make it? No. Jado's not quite able to get there. Shockwave just falling short as well. So that is going to be a successful hold at that point C defense as we flip things over, and we will see if... yeah, we will be seeing if Sone can get that one further.
Yeah, it's the good old fashioned at this point in time. It's the anything you can do, I can do better. And well, maybe I can't. I don't know. You try, you hope, you pray that you can do it better. Because really, in this case, I don't think Pulse wants to be down 2 maps in this series. It doesn't bode well considering this is a first to 3.
Absolutely. And yeah, just we continue to see Sone really bringing it to Pulse. But let's see how we go as we go into this one, whether or not we're going to see anything different. So it looks like we are going to be seeing Pandishi over on the Mei again. It sort of indicates to me they're looking to basically try and hold the choke rather than going for an early hold on the high ground. Jado's on the McCree means they've got a lot of up close damage here, and they do have some answers to some of the long range poke. However, KO looking like they're going to be on that Widowmaker is potentially going to be a pretty big problem for this team, as they don't really have anything to contest that Widow. So we'll see if KO is able to tear this fight open, or if some good shield work and some good wall work from Ogredor and Padishi, respectively, are able to just deny the sight lines to KO on that Widow, as the payload begins to get moving here. Ooh, big boot from Ducky.
That was massive. Great parkour, great movement, gets in behind, boops the Ryan off the ground, and now that's giving them a lot of space. You can see the Maywall coming down. Doesn't allow them to move as far forward. Has also forced the defense quite a ways back. Now they're going to be collapsing in here. The Zarya's in all kinds of trouble as Olis does fall. And now surely they'll find some more off of this one. They have the window to do so. Can they convert? Peroni's coming around the corner, trying to get anything. These hooks from the Hogs not quite landing. But now Pandishi does fall. This cart continues to inch its way forward. They're trying to press up, might find something, and Orgador is in a lot of trouble once again. Bubble's going to be able to keep him alive for a while, but it's not enough as everyone is dying. It is a lovely shade of blue in the kill feed. Pulse are on a roll, and they're going forward. Winter's now got the Yana.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this quad tank composition we're seeing from Pulse is absolutely devastating. Like, if you think Goats is brawly, this thing is the real brawl. And that opening hook from Jeef Beef pulling in Oedus, and then the Maywall from Padishi going up slightly too late to save it, means that Oedus taken out, and then from there the 4 tanks just rolling through. Not enough damage able to be brought into them to take advantage of it, but we will see some composition changes as we move into the second. Jeep going down early is perhaps an opportunity for the defense to set up a hold here. An Elite Viper having gone over to the Winston, they know the map geometry, they want to use it. And Dishi going down early in this fight though means it's not over as of yet.
Oh, and that's a huge grab, but a lot of saves coming through, and no one's actually gonna be okay. There's a couple kills coming in at the tail end of it. This offense is on an utter roll, smoothly rolling through. And yeah, there's not a lot this defense can do about it at all.
Yeah, Sone really bringing it to Pulse here. They've made an incredible time pushing through, and there's a very real risk that this gets capped here without a proper team fight. And Nishi going down early again. Jeef Beef does get picked up by Jados, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get onto this cart.
Trying to pressure through, but KO's had another lovely shot there on that Widow. And I really think the MVP of this map thus far has been Winter. He's getting so much done on Zarya right now. Seemingly always at a high charge. And he's been completely picking apart the defense from Pulse.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it just goes to show that when they went into B, where they wanted to move to more high ground, able to be contested heroes, Winter stays on Zarya because they've got the charge. They've made it all the way through to C quite easily. And now Winter still on Zarya, and they're probably going to be looking to swap back to a brawlier comp here as well. There's another grab. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, this cart might just roll far forward enough. Not quite. It's so very close. But here's the other thing, Pronius. There's so much time. So yes, the defense has found a few kills. Yes, Pandishi's done well to find a pair. And yes, they have started to slow things down. But Winter, well done there to get that kill in a spot that surely he was going to die anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
we're
talking about how well Winter has been doing. Winter threw out a Graviton at the start of that fight. 57% to their next grab. That really tells the whole story about just how dangerous Winter has been on this Zarya. And sure, the defense have stabilized here for now, But are they going to be able to keep this hold going, knowing that they're going to be playing into Chief Beef's Nano Blade soon, or Dragon Blade soon anyways, and Winter very close to another grab.
And look how close this cart is. They have 4 minutes to make this work, and they don't need to move it very far. In fact, it is inching its way forward. We could actually get close to a C9 as a bunch of players were far away. Finally, the engagement comes through. Pandishi has a kill onto the Widowmaker. They have zoned them back a little bit. I think we're going to wait and see for the spawns to come back around. Now the Dragon Blade's coming in. The win. Jados is the first casualty of it. Lucio boost coming through. Can they find anything? And here's the Graviton. This is key. Now everything should be condensed upon. We have Nano used to try and keep players alive, but everyone's starting to fall. The cart is going to be pushed. The cap is through, and Sone take map 2.
Wow, that just incredible plays there. Like at the start of the game, we were thinking that maybe Pulse, I'm combining the team names. Maybe Pulse has the advantage here. Maybe they are the higher seeded team, but so far, Sone really bringing it to Pulse. It looks like they've got a lot more coordination together. They're definitely really setting up these plays. And a lot of the time, it looks like Pulse are just sort of on the back foot, just sort of reacting to what Sone are throwing out. They're not really in the driver's seat, and they really need to try and seize that initiative if they want to turn this one around, especially with the scoreline now being 2-0 against them. They've really got to absolutely just get on board and take control of these maps and not allow Sone to just walk all over them. And it looks like we will be going over to King's Row. So if there's ever a map about taking and holding the initiative, this is the one.
See, actually,
No,
we're going to Hanamura.
we're going to Hanamura. Debated. Well, Hanamura is not King's Row, and it's a bit less about taking and holding the initiative because that second point is painful to capture in the best of times. But if they're able to get a good snowball from first, that could still apply. And,
Yeah, Hanamura is like historically casting for Ascent. At least when I did it last season, mostly with Cyber Waste. We had like this weird thing where it was almost never the same. Like you'd have snowballs, you'd have teams finishing with like 7 minutes in the bank, 6.5, like this bizarre time at ungodly speeds, and then you'd also have the turnaround where no one would cap first. It made no sense. It was the most bipolar map in the pool by far on that front, where like 5 minutes, no time. Like there was no balance between it. We could actually just wind up seeing lightning rounds and like 3 rounds in overtime.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just it's sort of the Assault/2CP game mode in a nutshell, but Hanamura has always been one of the snowballiest maps here. It's definitely one of the harder maps to try and hold that A, especially with the advent of the GOATS meta. We're able to see teams just roll through and set those sort of 7 or 6 minute times, but at the same time, if you're not able to snowball into second, it really can turn into such a long, grindy slog because it is such a defensive position. There's so much high ground around the point that you first need to take control of and then aggress onto the point. And a lot of the time, if the defensive team is holding that high ground, they lose a fight on the high ground, and then they're going to get a second fight on that point thanks to the respawns. So definitely a map for these sorts of, I suppose, bipolar antics. But we'll have to see what we get out of these teams here. It has for a long time been such a GOATS favoured map that it's hard to see if we're going to be seeing more of that or some new changes. Teams still starting to adapt to the new meta, and we will see what we get from these players as we head into the preparation phase.
All right, I also have confirmation. Just if this game happens to end here, if Sone take this 3-0, and depending how the time is, we will actually be jumping over to a second game for the evening. It will be... I'm not entirely sure who they're playing. I don't have the full details on the game yet, but it will be the Moth Black Academy game.
Nice. Well, that should be very exciting if this one doesn't end up going all the way, which certainly, definitely what Pulse are going to be wanting at this point. And looks like we are going to be going for, yeah, we're going to have a pretty standard Goats push coming out from the attackers here. Pulse doing their initial scouting. They're going to be playing the Moira Goats. They're going to be running into KO on the Reaper and Chief Beef on the Farah, though. And oh, we're going into an oily pause. So definitely there's going to be a lot of pressure here from the defenders on this Goats comp. But at the same time, all they really need to do to take control of this point, if you're a member of Pulse, is just push through, get whatever frags you can on the way to the point, and just set up on point. And it's going to be very difficult to then aggress onto that. They don't need to be too afraid of the Reaper, as long as Handishi and Colts are really keeping their eye on it, because Defense Matrix and Brigadier's Shield Bash still very effective answers to the Reaper. It is the downside of being a short-range hero. You can get stunned out or just shut down by the tanks, even though you are, at the same time, a strong counter to the tanks. And as long as they're able to cross that open space quickly, Chief Beef are going to struggle to get the rockets in at useful angles a lot of the time. So they really just need to commit quickly and decisively onto whatever members they can of Sone, get the early snowball, and then push onto the point and set up shop there. And they should be able to take control of this one. At the same time, the defenders are going to be looking to prevent that from happening. So they want to do their best to, basically try and take the fight out in the open, where Chief Beef can ran rockets in and just do whatever they can to disrupt the attackers, not let them get together, not let them get that momentum they need to knock down this door.
Well, the other thing worth noting here, Bronius, if you're wondering why we've talked for such a long-winded time, is the fact that we have a pause. And here's the thing. For those of you playing at home, it is a new season of Ascent, so someone is creative, like I'm sure some of you guys out there are, and you've probably come up with like the Ascent drinking game like bingo card. Either a drinking game or a bingo card. Right in that dead center of that bingo card, in that free space, should be a pause related to Australian internet. And well, we already have one, so you can stamp off that free spot. We are just waiting for a certain player, be Jados, to come right back into this game, as his internet is very dead, more dead than the Undertaker.
Oof. And I suppose the big silver lining to this is it was Jados on the offense that got the DC, so that's something they can recover from quickly. The fights haven't really underway. They're not losing a lot of ult charge, and the attackers can reset that one really quickly. Whereas if we'd have a DC from the defenders, that's practically point A gone at that point, as it becomes a quick 5v6. So at least there's that. Obviously, Pulse don't really need to be losing more time with Jados off at the moment. And certainly they wouldn't be minding a DC from the defenders to give them an opportunity to bring this back. But we will see how this unfolds when the players make it back. And it looks like we are still just waiting for them to regroup here and maybe get this internet back online.
I will say, you know what the highlight of this pause for me is, Peronius?
What is the highlight of this pause for you, Graham?
I mean, there's two highlights.
The
first one is I get to sit here and just listen to you talk, which is a blessing in its own right. The other highlight is this is, I think, the first time I've had a pause in Overwatch in forever where I haven't been like really close to a sound effect that just perpetually plays in your ear. Like you're just sitting here and you just hear the Bastion shooting for like 15 minutes, and it's like, if I hear it one more time, I'm gonna go insane. Please, no more minutes. No, I'm away from anything. I don't have a random sound coming down in my ear. Like this is a nice spot.
Yeah, no, I've actually had games that they've briefly unpaused and repaused just so the tracer that was in mid-fire could stop firing, because unfortunately the entire team was just hearing the perpetual buzz of the tracer pulse pistols. And on that note, it does look like Jados has reconnected, so we will be getting back into this match, and we can expect to see the attackers to just back off here, regroup, and then go in for the push. No, it looks like they're aggressing forwards despite Jado's not being with them.
I think they wanted the opportunity for maybe a Fire Strike to come in so they could farm some ult, but that's a bit of a mistake as Elite Viper picks off Pandishi right off the bat. Ogador is down 2. And yeah, that was like textbook definition of overstaying their welcome. That's not how you want to do it, Peronius.
Absolutely. I mean, especially if Jado's playing their Zarya, they just don't have the tools to bail out any mistakes. So, very risky plays and rightfully punished for it. But here they come now. They got a minute off the clock already, and we haven't really seen the first team fight. They are going to start pushing in. Shockwave going down early as well. This is not looking good for Pulse.
Yeah, they're just being shredded as Jeep Beef is way too tall a task to deal with. Everyone's dead. They have the res. The team kill bell comes out. And, well, is all she wrote on that push. 2 minutes and a half left, so that's plenty of time for them to try and crack this defense. They have a few more whacks at it, but so far, defense is standing very tall here for Sone.
Absolutely. GFB really connecting with those rockets. The early kill onto Shockwave there was easily able to discuss this entire push, and Bandishi actually going over to the Symmetra. They want to use the teleporter to get across this open ground and onto the point, because they are sick of just having rockets rained on them. That said, no, they're actually going to push through the old-fashioned way. No, the teleporter finally down, but not getting a lot of value out of it, but they do finally make it onto the point.
Really nice anti on the Shockwave, not able to be caught, and now here come a pair of Shatters. Death Blossom on the point. KO has a pair of Jeep Beef, one more. And this defense, I think, will still stand tall. Pandishi, although, chimes back in with the pair. Might be able to find something else. Now just him alive. And, well, there it is. Elite Viper with a hammer to the face. His life away. A minute and a half left. Spawn starting to come up. A few of these players on defense need to make their way back in. So there might be a window if the offense moves fast.
Absolutely, actually, yeah, that is a couple of people way back, but you hate to see it if you're Ogredor. You block the shatter, you get a huge counter shatter, the team's still not able to capitalize on that, as unfortunately we see KO come in the backline and just let it rip with the Death Blossom there. Now when things are getting desperate, another shatter from Elite Viper, this one huge, and the defenders really making this point theirs.
Brick wall coming through. They will not bend. They will not break. And look at this stagger here. They're just dancing on the body. And there is the kill on the Colts. That's an ancient kill. It's, someone dying just back when, you know, it's modern day, sure. And, well, they died way back when Rome fell. That's when the rest of the team died. That's how long a time period we had delayed there. 30 seconds left. This is surely going to be the last push. And the Graviton denies. The barrage coming in from above will break the shield and actually finds a kill on the Orgador. Go to Anti.
Oh no, Red.
Shockwave. They might find a few more kills. Red has fallen, which is very big for the offense. But they need to start finding anything. And KO on the Reaper says no thank you. 10 seconds left. No one is around. This is going to be it. Colts up above. Finally demech. It's just the little diva being hunted by a Pharah. Can't get to the point. And that is the utter stone wall.
Yeah, absolutely. That full hold on point A is definitely really setting up Sone to win this one. Pulse, they had a very strong opening on Control Center, but they have absolutely dropped the ball right after that. I don't know where Pulse has gone, but the Pulse we saw in that first round of Control Center just hasn't been present in the rest of these maps. And now we really need them to come back and try and equal this lockdown on this point. Otherwise, this is going to be the easy 3-0 sweep in favor of Sone.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I don't have much of a textbook on either of these teams. Like, basically my research was I right-clicked, view profile, saw what their competitive ranks are, and was like, yeah, this is gonna be a pretty easy game for Pulse. Oh, boy, was I wrong. And look at this comp coming out.
Are we going into the... Are they going to run?
Hammond, Widow, Zenyatta, Reinhardt, Tracer, Sombra. Surely that's not what they're running.
It might be. This looks like a variant on the quad DPS we've seen a lot of recently. But instead of the 4th DPS, they are running a Reinhardt instead. So I guess wanting a bit more forward pressure from that. But this is not too dissimilar to what we've seen. It's a little different because obviously in that sort of comp, Red would be on the Mercy instead of the Zen. But it's okay.
Oh my god! And Ducky swaps. All right, things are about to get dusty here.
Okay, I mean it sounds like they've heard that quad DPS is a thing that people run, but they're not too familiar on what's run in that. And sure enough, we are seeing the wholesale swaps now. It was just a big Jade. They are just going to run goats here, and on the defenders they got Bandishi on the Hanzo, who's going to get a lot of scouting done with that recon arrow, and Jado's waiting in ambush there on the Reaper. Which is going to be absolutely brutal if they move into that unexpected.
Oh, Ryan gets a big pin onto Orgador. There's no shield now, and Jados has fallen as well. So this is slowly going decently here. In fact, it's going very well as Elite Viper has another pair of kills. And that's all she wrote on this one here. That's, wow.
Yeah, that was a dominant performance there from Sone, getting an easy 3-0 sweep. They really had it done to them in Control Center, but then they seem to have woken up, and now all they've got left is, well, all they can say at this point is, I had to do it to them. That's definitely going to be some interesting conversation on the Soundscape Discord later, because I do believe that Pulse is the highest seeded team. So, yeah, there's definitely going to be some interesting interactions between these players going forwards.
And don't forget, players, don't go anywhere right after this match, because we are going to be going into another game. That's right, we couldn't just stop at one series for you. What kind of people would we be if we just left at one? Right, Pronius?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we will be going over to another game between, is it Morph Black Academy? Is that their...
Yes.
Yep.
I'm just going to swap. I was actually swapping over to the Ascent Discord as I handed off to you to see about those brackets. It is going to be... Where is this? Got to open the right page. It's got to open the right one.
Morph Academy
versus Omega Loan. Jinx.
And Jinx? Oh no. Let me know you would.
Oh no. No. You can't talk for the rest of the cast.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, that's tragic. Oh no, I'm solo casting. That's the worst thing in the world. Oh dear lord. No, Peronius, there is one thing I do make people do. You've been here before. You've been on the hot seat. You've probably wanted to jump off a bridge as soon as you realized you were casting with me. Series is over. MVP.
Well, couple of really standout players. It's going to be hard to narrow it down because the question is, we've seen some great plays from the main tank on Elite Viper. We've seen some incredible plays from Winter as well, but I think I have to give it to KO. They've managed to perform both dominantly on the Widowmaker, winning those 1v1s, opening a lot of space. They've done a lot on the Reaper when they've pulled it out. So I think all in all, I have to give it to KO on DPS for the part of Soundscape Sone.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good choice. I think what the big difference maker in this series was to me, just on the front of like one map kind of swinging the entire series, has to be Winter's play. That Zarya play on that push through of what really was a lightning round on Dorado, I think kind of set the entire tone for this whole series. I mean, it was the second map, sure, but I think I think if he doesn't come in with that strong play on that second map, we're maybe looking at a 4 or 5 map series.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of impact there from Winter, but all of the members of Soundscape Sone really bringing it out, really putting through a solid performance. We saw great things from Chief Beef as well, and Ducky and Red just doing their best to keep the team alive, getting some big early boops with the Lucio as well. All of the members of Sone really putting in a lot of work. Looks like they've been practicing a lot harder in the break than Pulse, maybe. So maybe that's why they've been able to really put through that dominant performance. And now we will be transitioning over to this Morph Black versus, or Morph Academy rather, versus a Megalol match. And definitely some interesting things to see here. I definitely recognize some of these players, but I don't. It's been a while since I've seen them in game. It's we've been off for a couple of months, and it's just sort of a case of refamiliarizing myself with these players.
Exactly, and so we are just gonna cut, I think, to a quick break just while we get everything sorted out. I can get our producer actually into this lobby. What a crazy concept that would be. I know, right? Having everyone we need here. So we're gonna quickly just cut to a break. Don't go anywhere. We will be back.